Okay. Okay. Hi everyone. My name's Alex, and I'm going to talk to you about software eating brand building. This was from the email that was sent out, the intellectually provocative speaker lineup. I'm not going to be intellectual, but I will tell you what I believe in the world. And what I believe in the world is kind of from a place where I sort of came from this industry, I grew up in this industry. And I always feel like it's quite an insular industry. And we tend to look inside a lot and do a lot of navel gazing. And I still love the industry, but I've had the last 2 years I've spent outside it, looking in. And I've seen a whole new world of stuff happening that is really interesting. So I do two things now, right? So I think, as Sarah mentioned, I invest in early stage tech companies with Saatchi Invest. And with the bakery, we kind of believe the model of building products and services is fairly crappy and fucked because clients own everything. And we don't think the incentives are right? Because the client pays to get something built. And then it's built. And I think someone's... Oh, that's my mum. Sorry, Mum. She's trying to hear my talk. She's so proud. Anyway, I think the model. The reason we started with the bakery is we thought the model was crappy. So you tech products and services, you build them, client pays for them, they own them, and then the money runs out, and they just go into the content production graveyard. And actually, there's this huge emergence of talent, tech entrepreneurs who are building amazing things, and we think by them keeping the IP and getting tech to trial market with big brands is a really interesting model and one that will grow and grow and grow the next 5 years. So anyway, point here is that I've kind of looked at the world from another lens. Today I'm going to talk about a short history of brand building. I'm going to talk about how I think brand comms is just a whole subset of user experience, echoing some things that Mark said. Then I'm going to talk about how I think that software is eating brand building and will continue to do so in the next 10 years. And then I was going to sit on a chair and have a chat about what we do about it, but we might do that at the end instead. So look, before the internet, I think this stuff's all fairly obvious. I think you'll just go, yes, this is right? So before the internet, brands were built by brand communications. It was a very scarce model. There was few methods of distribution, and the people who won tended to be the ones who shouted the loudest. And you could say things, and that was enough. Buy our stuff, that would create brand preference. And you could create crappy experiences. BT were terrible at customer service for years. Do an ad, you still do okay. Then the internet came along, and as we know, now there's just this network of people all talking to each other, and brands are increasingly built by what people experience and what people tell each other. And I always come back to this. Whenever I think about brands, I'm like, I trust a stranger from Manchester. This is Kevin, right? And I trust what he says. I don't know why I picked a buoyancy aid, but I did, right? And I would buy that because this stranger I've never met has said it's good. And I believe that over a brand. And that's really scary for brand comms, I think. And so brands can't get away with just saying stuff anymore. BA talk about flying to serve. And there's tons of stuff about how actually there's a really crappy experience when you actually experience the totality. So Mark talked about the totality of the product and service experience and how brands aren't just ads and aren't just comms. And so, of course, that's true, right? It's the totality of product and service experiences. But I don't think that's how we act as brand planners and in agencies. We don't act like that, and clients don't necessarily act like that. And I think the winners today, I think this is pretty clear as well, are companies who view brand communication as a subset of user experience. So you've got all the user experience, and brand comms is one part of it. And if you look at the top brands, you know, Apple, Amazon, Google, and the fastest growing brands, these are all companies who value user experience in different ways. Bezos is obsessed famously with it. Jobs was. Google weren't so good at user experience, but were obsessed with data and understanding what the users told them, and they got way better at it. And I think the point here is that most brands and agencies really struggle with this experience-first culture. Okay, there is still a culture of comms first. There was a brilliant article this weekend about the Dare and MCBD. Is it MCBD? Yeah. When they merged, and it all fucked up, and it was shit because I might be paraphrasing a little bit wrongly there, but it was hard. It was hard because there's two different ways at it, right? You start with comms and you start trying to craft ads, or you start with experiences and you want to iterate and you want to build stuff quickly. And it was just really difficult. And we struggle with that culture. And even if you're just from a digital-led agency and you do agile thinking, you're experience-led, that whole point I talked about is clients own it. So you end up servicing clients and their wants rather than building stuff that's great in the world. And what's happening outside of this world of clients, brands, agencies is there's this brilliant article by Mark Andreessen. And he talks about software eating the world. And what he means by that is we live in a world now where there's a ton of macro factors. We've got low interest rates. We've got a ubiquity of technology. If you look back to the bubble in 2000, there wasn't mobile everywhere. There wasn't internet everywhere. And now we've got that infrastructure there all of a sudden. You've also got really low barriers to entry. It doesn't cost a lot to start a tech company. And what you see is there's been a huge explosion of amazing creative people going to build amazing tech products and services. And they do that full time. They spend all their time on it. It means that nobody, not even Google anymore, has the best talent in the building. And if you look at the marketing technology landscape, there's just tons of it. It's incredible. And even here, I think this will work. Like, this is just a site called AngelList. And it's just some of the new and emerging tech companies. And this is just a small section of it. And there's just so much amazing creativity and amazing products and services being built out there by brilliant people. And actually, what this means is because there's this huge supply, brand building, software's eating brand building, right? And what we mean by that is many of the brand building tasks done by humans will be done by computers. It's kind of what we meant with software eating the world. Computers can compute lots of information and do more of the jobs of humans. It's eating the music industry, if you look at iTunes and Spotify. It ate the video industry, if you look at Blockbuster versus something like Netflix. It's eating the marketing industry, and it's eating brand building. Here's some examples. There's a company called Touchcast. If you want to produce messages, this company, Touchcast, has produced a technology which is a TV studio and iPad, so it's very deflationary in terms of producing content. You don't need the big TV studios anymore. But more than that, they've got these things called video apps, which means for the first time, you can look at websites inside videos or videos inside videos. And it's just an amazing customer experience. It's eating creative messaging. There's a company called Yasari and Lives, which if Google is the sort of logical brain of the internet, they're the creative brain of the internet. They're finding the far away creative themes and metaphors that work, and they're augmenting human creativity. You know, brand building is about educating customers. There's a company called Digital Genius, who actually the bakery got this to market, and this was a virtual assistant. So BMW ran a telead. They needed to educate people on their cars. People didn't know what the hell an electric car was. They didn't know where they could charge it. They didn't know if they needed a battery. You could just text a computer that's as good as a human, can understand tone of voice, and was a huge success for them. Helps with conversion. So this is a company called Flockler who take user-generated images in order to convert people on their site on Florida. So instead of just using a landing page with a price, they show, right, you can have this experience, convert here. Customer service. So there's a company called Live Guru which distributes customer service all around the web. So wherever you are, there's a helpful advice. It means that you don't need digital brand messaging anymore. It means you can get someone helpful helping you wherever you are on the internet. It helps loyalty. There's a pet food provider I can't name who've built wearable technology collars for dogs. And it means that all of a sudden they're providing a really useful service for dog owners because you can work out how much pet food they're eating a day, how much exercise they're doing, and check the health of your dog. There's another example here called Happiness Station by Wolves, which is on-demand ice cream delivery, right? So it extends the buying opportunity. All of this stuff this used to just be brand comms, it used to just be messaging, but now there's all these product and service experiences. And I kind of think we're a bit blinkered and we don't kind of see what's going on, and it feels to me like there's this coming storm. And I'd like to sit down in a bit and just have a chat about what it means for us, because you guys know customer behavior better than everyone. You know user experience, and I just feel like there's brains in this room that are still writing briefs and doing messaging, and there's so much more that brand planners could be doing to work with software, because we can't control the totality of brand experience with onions. And you've got people like Unilever Foundry who go, we're not just going to spend loads of money on ads anymore, we're going to do scope of stuff, and they've invested in the Foundry to work with tech companies and to take these products and services to market. And so the question I want to talk about at the end when we do it is the stories of brand building and brand planning one of slow, continual eroding influence? And what do we do in a world where software is eating brand building? You know, why are the products and service experiences rarely produced by brands? Does the ownership model work? What is your role in this model? Are agencies the right place, right? Ad agencies produce ads, media agencies sell media. No one's really selling the technology that the customers are really using out in the real world to the brand partners. And I know for a fact brands are asking for this, and agencies aren't giving it to them so much, and that's why we work with agencies to help that. What does the voice of, like, you know customers, so why don't you do that? Anyway, so that's it. That's kind of my thoughts on the world, that software is eating brand building. I'd love to chat about what we can all do about it. Thank you very much.